Right, so there we go. And now what we're going to do here is talk about how to be a journalist. And I'm going to tell you everything you need to know. But I want to talk about media as well, because we're in a state of flux, aren't we? Things are changing in the world all the time, and people's view of the media is not always a positive one. So I want to kind of change that around. First of all, though, who am I and why should you listen to me? So I'm Tony Bosworth. I've been a journalist all my working life. I started out on a local paper when I was 18, so a very long time ago, in the UK. And before I went there, I was trained professionally as a journalist at Thomson Regional Newspapers, which doesn't exist anymore. It was basically taken over. Well, I suppose Rupert Murdoch bought the Times newspaper in Britain back in the 80s, and that was owned by Thomson Regional Newspapers. Lord Thomson was the guy who set that up, who set that newspaper group up. Anyway, I'm rambling on here. So I did journalism training, and I learned how to do court reporting, council reporting, and local government reporting, how to write a news story, how to write features, how to interview people, and all sorts of other things as well. The tricks of the trade, if you like. Shorthand I also learned. Not many people use that nowadays. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to talk about how journalism has changed since then and how we're doing it now. So after that, I spent 3 years there. Then I went to London. I was 21, and I started out working on a motoring magazine there. Eventually, I became a group editor there, running several motoring-related magazines. Then about the same time, I had a motoring show on LBC Radio in London, talking about motoring. Every week I was on for an hour or so talking about motoring issues. After a while, probably about 20 years, I spent a long time doing that and enjoyed it, When I was in my 20s, driving around big, fast, expensive cars most of the time. Bought a house in France, as you do. But yeah, I was having a good time. But I got a bit bored of driving cars all the time, and I thought I'd move into automotive business journalism, which I did, and wrote for The Guardian, the Financial Times. I wrote for Investors Chronicle, which is a Financial Times weekly publication, and also had stories published in the Times, the Independent, most of the Fleet Street papers at that time, and also in the Daily Star as well, which was a tabloid, so a bit of a different writing style. We can talk about those sorts of things and how people write and what the different styles are and what you choose to do as a journalist. And then I decided that I'd write some books. So I wrote some motoring books. I had 5 of those published. Then I had a bit of a midlife crisis. I would have been in my early 30s by then, maybe mid-30s. And I decided I'd like to try and give a bit back, as they say. So I started doing media training. And basically, I got a job at Harlow College teaching media law, which I'd always been interested in, and also practical journalism. And I also worked in South London as well at one of the colleges there, and I taught for a while at the University of Westminster. Been in Australia now for quite a number of years, almost 30 years actually. And here I've worked for Fairfax, which was a major publisher, News Corp as well, and also several other companies as well. Anyway, I hesitated a bit there because also I've done media teaching here and also media training for corporates. So teaching big companies, teaching their staff how they can deal with the media best, how they can work with the media. So I've got a very well-rounded experience in journalism. I've also done a little bit of TV, love radio, done quite a bit of that, and obviously internet, online. I was really at the forefront of that with many other people back around 20, 25 years ago when internet 1.0 first started, I guess you'd say. So look, I've worked across all these areas. I now work as a managing editor for a group of local newspapers in Australia. And I really just want to share my knowledge. And for anybody who wants to be a journalist, I want to tell you what that means and how you can do it. So that's what we want to do. And I want to get you involved as well, as much as possible, so people can, join in the conversation as we're going, ask me questions, and we'll get a bit of a conversation going, hopefully, and talk about all of these different things that make the media so interesting these days. So Okay, so basically what I'm going to do then, I'll start teaching you everything that I know, and I'll be a little less casually dressed, I think, soon. It's a Saturday here, and I thought I'd just get on there and we'll kick this off. So, look, that's where we are, and I'm going to get back on here really regularly. I'm going to try and do something almost every day, and then we'll see how we go. But I certainly want you folks to join in as well, and let's set a little ground rule. Let's be pleasant to everybody, okay, and not have a go, because that's one of the real problems to me in the media world or in journalism and out, out in the world in general. People are not polite to people anymore. They're often very aggressive. We need to get back to being just let's just be polite. Let's talk sensibly about things and have discussions. Okay, we don't want to have big scraps and big fights about it. And yeah, we'll go from there. Anyway, look, I'll leave it there, and I'll come back very soon, and we'll carry on. Okay, you have a good Saturday or a Friday if you're elsewhere in the world. Talk to you again soon.